No, it's like, yeah, I'm not doing that to you guys no more. Welcome back. So, I've been thinking about like video ideas and things like that. And one thing I wanted to do that you've probably seen before, but I'm interested in, and I feel like I had some things to add was, and I've gotten a lot of questions regarding what I wish I knew before boot camp and even during the boot camp experience, the coding boot camp experience. So I've seen these videos everywhere. I feel like I have some extra things to add as well. I haven't watched one since I decided to join the boot camp, so I haven't really seen what new information's out there, but I thought I would give my take, especially being in a remote environment online. And the first thing I would say is save your money. Don't be like me. So, me being, well, not me being, but sometimes I can be very spontaneous. I originally planned to take this class, this coding boot camp in June. No, yeah, June of last year. Ended up doing the self-taught route for a while. And then February, when I decided I was going to do it, I literally decided a week before my cohort started. I was just like, you know what, I'm going to do it. I reached out, talked to them. They said my stuff was good, so good for a year. So I was able to do the boot camp at that. I was able to just jump into the boot camp. So with that being said, because it was so spontaneous, I didn't have as much money saved as I probably should have. And when they say you cannot work, you cannot work, okay? I thought it would be different because most of the things that I see online are bootcamp experiences where they were going in, right? So I thought, okay, well, obviously I'm not gonna be able to work except maybe weekends because, you know, you're driving to a location, you know? And my original plan was I was gonna wait it out a little bit and wait out the panini a little bit and decide to do, like, I was trying to wait it out and see if I could just get some experience and then wait out the panini and with hopes that by, you know, a few months, you know, I only thought, you know, at the beginning of the panini, not the panununu, the panoodle, you know, I thought it was only going to be a few months. You know, I didn't know we'd still be here. It's been over a year. So once I decided to do the self-taught route, I was like, okay, if I'm interested in a few months, they should be back in person, I'll do that route. So I'm saying that because obviously they can't work. You're literally in class from 9 to 5 Eastern Standard Time or 12 to 8 Pacific Time. So of course they can't work. But you know, I was doing remote. I'm very type A. I'm very organized to an extent. So I thought, oh, you know, I was already working from home. My job was already work from home when I started the boot camp. So I was like, oh, and I worked like 6 to 2:30. So I was just going to finesse the last 2.5 hours and figure it out. And that was not good. My plan was to work the whole time throughout in a full-time boot camp program, but ended up like schedules didn't match up with my job and blah, blah, blah. So I ended up like quitting. I had to quit. And so I didn't have money saved because I had planned, like I didn't have money saved to quit, right? So because my plan was to work throughout the boot camp. So I didn't like having money set aside because I wasn't going to be working just wasn't originally like in my plan. So I would say, even if you think you're working even part-time, you know, save some money before you start. Whether it's you're going full-time, or if you have a spouse, you know, speak with your spouse and let them know, like, okay, like these are my expenses. If it's something that's affordable to you or not, you can figure that out from there. But regardless, just put some money aside. You just never know. We have the boot camp, but like a lot of the recommended, like after boot camp or during boot camp, supplemental material like LeetCode or Udemy or Codecademy Pro, like those things that they recommend. There's a lot of free stuff out there, but then like for practice questions, a lot of this stuff is paid. And fortunately, General Assembly gives us enough questions where you didn't really need it, but as you're winding down, you know, you're going to want to start purchasing some things to like supplement what you're doing. Like I bought a course on Udemy and I'm going to be doing LeetCode problems, and the premium costs money. So keep those things in mind. The Green Book, you can either borrow it or get it from somewhere. If you reach out to me, I can send you a PDF version for free so you can get it for free. Just email me and I can send it to you. But there are a lot of little hidden expenses that I didn't account for. One, because I planned to be working throughout, and two, because I was because I was planning to work. Like, yeah, I should have had more savings. That's all I should say. Save your money. Save your money. Whether you're married and have a spouse that can support you at the time, whether you're single, whether you're just younger, just put some money aside. Make sure you have money in savings for sure. Because the reason why the first 3 weeks of my boot camp were almost disastrous was because I was balancing a full-time job and I was learning. And I thought it wouldn't be difficult because I read the syllabus and I was like, oh, I know this stuff. I know HTML, CSS. This is just going to be like review. Oh, no. Don't be like me. Do not be like me. You can't do it, okay? Unless you're part-time, that's different. But full-time, don't do it unless it's a weekend. Like, I had a few classmates, and even me, towards the end, I picked up a weekend job. So I only worked Saturday and Sunday. But do not try and do a full-time job. You do not have the time. They were not lying. I was like, okay, yeah, I hear y'all talking. Yeah. Like, okay, don't work a job. Don't do it. The sole reason why the first 3 weeks for me were so traumatic and why I struggled was because of this job. Like, period. I had to make that decision between this job. I hated my job. So when it was time to make that decision, and I actually made that decision during project week 1, when it was time to make that decision to let go of my position, I wrote the letter and quit same day. That's how much I couldn't stand them, But I also knew they were affecting my future, Well, unintentionally, right? Because I had the job first, but essentially they were trying to put me on mandatory overtime. They were trying to make me do all these things I normally don't do. And I told them, like, hey, I'm in a program now. Like, I don't have that extra mandatory time. I'm getting out of class at 8 p.m. and you still want me to do mandatory overtime, and then I still got to do my labs. I still got to work on my project. Like, there's only so many hours in a day, and I'm going to be up at 6 a.m. Try to work out a different schedule. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Save yourself. Don't do it. The next thing I would say is that decide if this is what you really want to do, I'm somebody that I thrive on discipline and like instruction and that classroom setting, but it's not for everybody. And even me, like, there were times where I was just like, I do not want to sit on Zoom for 8 hours today. Like, I just don't. I don't. And you may not be that person, things are slowly going back to normal. So there might be a possibility I know this online option is always going to be available, but you may have the option to go in, and that's a little bit different. But download the syllabus, or what you can do. I don't know if GAs is like you can download. I think a lot of these places you have to email, like express interest, and they'll send it to you. Like, say you're interested, and then they'll send you the syllabus. Look at it. I was going through my old notes, and I realized that I actually had been learning React back when I was teaching myself. I don't even remember, because they tell you when you don't use it, you really do lose it. So I'm looking at components, and I had gotten up to components and got confused, but I was looking at React and I was learning React, and they said you can learn React without JavaScript, and I kind of see what they're talking about, but I kind of don't now that I'm on the other side. But decide if this is what you really need to do. You may not need to go to a boot camp. Like, you may just, you might be fine. I mean, I was learning React on my own. I just really wasn't understanding it. I don't even remember learning it. I don't really remember much of it. So you're really just paying for the knowledge. You're really paying for the code reviews. You're paying for the little tips and tricks from people who are, or in our case, instructors and people like that are in the industry already. Both of our instructors were and are boot camp General Assembly boot camp grads. So you're paying, and they're both senior engineers, so software engineers. So, and outside of the code reviews, outside of the tidbits and connections, I mean, that's really what we're paying for. They reiterate, I reiterate, people online reiterate. You can learn this on your own. It is a very hefty price to pay, so that's something you may need to invest in. If I only went the boot camp route because I didn't want to go back to school for 2 more years. So since I already have a degree, don't live far from one of my campuses for my school, so I reached out. They told me I already done my core classes, so I just would have to go back and take computer science. I didn't want to wait 2 years. I didn't want to wait 2 years, but if you don't have any loans or never been to college or anything like that, I can honestly tell you that just go to school. There's so many blockages from not having a computer science degree. I have a degree, so that has helped me kind of maneuver into certain spaces just because I have a degree. But if you have the time, if you have the money, and or if you qualify for federal student loans, 100% go get the degree. Just because it just makes life easier. Like, there's just a lot of blockages when you don't have a degree or you don't have a computer science degree. So I would 100% recommend, if you have the time, just go to school. Even if it's a community college, just go to school. Just go, because we're paying a lot of money for a few, the connections, the resources. And I'm not taking, like I said, I always say, probably every video, best decision I've ever made. But in theory, if you have the federal student loans and stuff like that, you can take out extra for rent and stuff like that. Here, what you take out is what you get. So you're only taking out enough. They're not giving you extra. You can't request more because you're not working for 3 months, how you would in undergrad or grad school or at a community college. That's it, unless you take out a loan. If you take out a loan, it's different. But if you're going through the ISA, they're only giving you the amount of the program. That's it. You're not getting anything else. You can't request anything else. So with that being said, you really need to evaluate if this is something that's going to fit into your life, or you plan ahead. Maybe you want to do a boot camp, you wait a few months, save a few months, have a plan in place. I think that will really alleviate a lot of issues and the feeling the need to work during, because I only fell into that trap because it was here. I was doing it from home. If I had to go in, I definitely wouldn't have been able to do it, because no, it just wasn't working. So the next thing is that missing holidays is definitely a thing. They tell you you're gonna miss birthdays, and you're like, I've always been the type, I've been able to maneuver everything. No, I miss a lot of 30th. So me and all my friends are turning 30 this year. I miss a lot of birthdays. I miss a lot of birthday celebrations. And they understand, they know what I'm doing, they know what I'm going through. I talk to them throughout, usually on the weekends, and they hear all my thoughts and rants, and but having a strong support system during this time is also important, especially as you get older, because there are gonna be a lot of times where you doubt, why do I want to do this? Let me just go call my job and beg them to give it back to me. I could just go back to what I was doing and figure it out. You're gonna have a lot of those times, so make sure you have a strong support system, because that is gonna come in play on those days where you really feel like you can't do it, or because 3 months seems short, but it feels like a long time when you're in the program. So definitely make sure you can identify who your support system is, and it could be your mom, it could be your brother, it could be your sister, it could be a friend, and just continue to lean on them. Don't think you're bothering them, but sometimes you just need an outlet to express how you feel. The next thing I would say is there are going to be times where you probably burn out. I definitely have those moments, and fun fact, I skipped one day of class, and that was it. I wasn't doing nothing. I just was like, I'm not doing it. I am not going to class today. I am sick of it. It kind of screwed me over because I had to play catch up. But some days, you're just sick of looking at the computer, every day, 12 to 8, and on weekends. I need a break. Some days during lab, I would just turn my camera off, even though we're not supposed to, but I did it because I was just like, I can't. I need a break. I needed a break. And I took a break, and that's important. Taking a break, staying on camera all day or looking at a computer all day. I had to learn, my neighbors probably think I'm crazy because during lunch or breaks, I would just walk around the building 3 times. But I just needed to get outside. I was just I need a break. And so I don't think I really understood how much you could burn out, especially specifically when when you don't have a technical background, or you're not coming from a background of technology and going into a coding boot camp. Like, I was teaching myself prior to the boot camp, but like, I wasn't on the computer for 8 hours a day teaching myself. Like, I was doing it at my own will, my own time, things like that. But I wasn't every day for 8 hours. I wasn't doing that. And you might be on the computer for 8 hours, but you're not coding for 8 hours. That's two completely different experiences. So figure out what makes you burn out, or when you feel like you're burning out, like maybe try and identify ways to de-stress before you start or during the boot camp, because you're gonna have to lean on that. I discovered I had to learn to start walking around my apartment complex, and it helped. I also will say, get a hobby, okay? Get a hobby. Get something to do besides coding. Nobody wants to talk about code all day, every day. Like, you need a break. You got to give yourself a break. And that includes with the burning out. So for me, my hobby was working out. I started a workout program maybe 1 or 2 weeks before the boot camp started, and I was very diligent with it. It was a 12-week program. So, I kind of missed 1 or 2 weeks during project week, but it ended up lining up where I ended the program the last week of my coding bootcamp program. So it like ended up aligning, because I missed a few days in some weeks. But get a hobby, get something that you look forward to doing after class or on the weekends or whatever. For me, it was very routine for me to like go to class, wake up, code, do homework, labs, whatever, sit in class from 12 to 8, and then right after class, I would go to the gym. I'm fortunate that I live in an apartment, so my gym is right here. I'm canceling LA Fitness, but my gym is right here, so I would already, like, if I didn't have my workout clothes on by the time the class started, usually around lunch or one of our breaks, I would put my workout clothes, so I didn't have an excuse not to go. The only reason I didn't go to the gym after class some days is either I didn't feel well, or like my group, whether it was my group partner wanted to meet right after class, or I had like a outcomes meeting scheduled, which outcomes is the jobs class. So I had something like that scheduled. That's the only things that really prevented me, but it's just a nice way to, it's a nice way for you to have something to look forward to outside of coding, because those days where you're going to want to like kick rocks, yeah, I guarantee you that for me, I can tell you that it became such a routine for me to work out that I realized when my life felt like I was going crazy, aka project week, those were the weeks I was not working out that much. And I noticed that kind of contributed to my mental health, So for me, it's working out. For you, it might be knitting, or I don't know, playing basketball, or reading, Don't stop doing things that you find joy in or that de-stress you just because you're here. Because you're just not going to be able to do it as much as you normally would, but you need to find something to do outside of boot camp, because you will go nuts. And even me having a hobby or something to do after, I still feel like I went nuts during and a little after. It's only been a week, So yeah, so get a hobby, find something to do. Lastly, talk to your classmates. When at the beginning, they tell you like, oh, build your network, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's your classmates, it's going to be your classmates. I didn't know these people, and they were like, yeah, by the end, I still keep in touch with my classmates. We talk all the time. And I was like, okay. Nobody in this class even looked like me, so some of y'all kind of look like me, but y'all don't look like me. So I was like, all right, yeah, okay. But no, it's true. It's true. They force you. You have no choice, so you have no choice. So during the boot camp, like, make sure that you continue to interact with your classmates, get to know them outside. Like, we send each other jobs. Like, they know I live in Atlanta. I know where they live. So I'm like, oh, hey, here you go. Like, hey, I found this. I was looking here and I was applying for a job and I saw Seattle. Not sure if you're interested. And that's how, like, a lot of random jobs that I didn't even think about applying for or notice, or recruiters, stuff like that, it's through my classmates. So definitely during the boot camp, make sure you get to know your classmates.